situation where that was all I wanted to do, even though it was making me unhappy. It made me happy to just do that, and it was such a weird environment where, in the end, I was just like someone who would go out and see my mates and have fun. But there, it came to a point where I was just like going to training, going back to my room, playing FIFA, going back to training the next day, or sleeping, going back to training, playing FIFA, and it was like over and over and over again on repeat, and I didn't really do much, and it wasn't down to the people because they would invite me everywhere. I just didn't want to do things, and I didn't really understand it at first, and I think inevitably why I ended up leaving Sweden was because I was in such an unhappy place in myself, not because of the football, but just because I just didn't want to do things, and it felt like an effort to go and do things.
How did that manifest when you were there? Was it just keeping yourself to yourself, or did you become irritable? Did you become sort of depressed? Do you think, looking back on it, can you look back and think the Christian then was depressed or anxious, or because at the time you're sort of in this sort of bubble of your own? Actually, how did that manifest looking back on it now?
I don't know whether I could call it depression, because you don't know. I don't really know. I couldn't tell you whether it was or not. But it certainly was an unhappy place in terms of I'd sit in my room, and all I would want to do is sit in my room and play FIFA and then just go to sleep or watch a series. I wouldn't want to go out and just go for a bit of food, and I just got in a situation where that was all I wanted to do, even though it was making me unhappy. It made me happy to just do that, and it was such a weird environment where, in the end, I was just like, maybe it does make you a little bit more grouchy, I guess, actually, because I'm living with someone, and you know, negative energy is quite easy to see when you're with someone. So my mate wanted to help me as much as possible, and he actually was very, very supportive, and I obviously thank him for that. But there was nothing that he could possibly do or say to me that was making me feel better. It was only once I started sort of talking about it that I started to feel better, and about it, and then subsequently made the decision to come home. And it was like a weight off my shoulders when I came home. I remember coming through the airport, like being down for like months or like a month or 2 months, and being down and walking through the airport. Mum, Dad, my sister were just waiting for them. I was just like, God, do you know what? Thank God, like I'm home, because I'd got myself in such a bad routine. And I do think it probably did stem from sort of me playing football for a long period of time, from like 6 years old, and the only thing I ever felt I had was football. So there, it was like epitomised, because the only reason I was there for football was for football. So all I was doing was football, and everything else was just in my room. So like it felt like the only thing that Christian Scales had as a person, as a character, was football.